another obstacle in the way of living my best life as I want to be doing right now. Welcome to another episode of the Hilo Stitch podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and I'm here to talk to you about, what else? Knitting. I will also be talking about a little bit of sewing, some yarn stash flash, some in progress and finished designs, and a few other things related to knitting and sewing and crafting in general. So if you don't know me already, my name is Kristen Janik. I'm a mostly retired knitting pattern designer, knitting instructor, and all-around knitting enthusiast. I am podcasting to you from my home in the Maryland suburbs of Washington, D.C., where it is very smoky because of the Canadian wildfires and also looks like we're about to get some thunderstorms, so I apologize for the lighting. Thank you so much for joining me today, and let's go ahead and start talking about some knitting. I actually finished something. It's a miracle. I finished my Ripple halter. So I signed up to test knit this for Jessie May back in the spring. And then when we went to Peru, I forgot to pack it. So I did not meet the testing deadline. And ever since then, it has just been kind of languishing. I would put in a few stitches here, a few stitches there. But I was not making a whole lot of progress. Finally, though, I decided to just sit down and get this done. And so it is officially off the needles. I knit the size medium, which I think says is to fit a 36-inch bust, which is my bust size. And obviously this, if you're familiar with the pattern, there's a version with cold shoulder sleeves, and then there's just the halter version, so obviously I just did the halter version. I used Isager, whatever it is, Beaumeline, I don't know how to pronounce anything that's involved here, which is a cotton linen blend in a fingering weight, and so this size used almost a full 2 cakes. It comes in these little pre-wound cakes. I had a little bit left at the end, but not a ton. And I don't remember what the yardage is on those. So I'll put that information in the description box down below. I was very happy with the yarn. It was relatively soft for a cotton linen blend. It was easy to work with. I do appreciate that it comes in these pre-wound cakes with like this like sturdy cardboard cylinder in the middle to keep it all together, and I do really appreciate that because then your yarn doesn't start getting tangled and falling apart as you are working. And that is also a really reasonably priced yarn as well. So this is done. I have not really worn it yet. I'm really planning to have it, because it's pretty see-through, planning to have it as a swimsuit cover-up in the summer, and especially at the beach. When you're out and you're wearing a bathing suit and you're going to go to the pool or you're going to go to the beach, but you got to run errands first and you don't want to just be running around in a bathing suit, something to throw on top. So in general, this fits pretty well, but like in terms of the body size, I will say that the arms and neckline are a little tight, and that could just be my bind off or cast on, as the case may be. But the body itself is fine. And I do kind of wish, I just did a plain bind off on the hem. I do maybe wish I'd done a little bit of a stretchier one, because of course a cotton linen doesn't have any stretch. And that would give me just a little bit more room, make it a little bit more flexible. But it's not tight enough or uncomfortable enough that I am gonna redo it. So I will pop a photo in here of me in my Ripple halter so you can see. It is a close fit, but it does fit. I certainly wouldn't knit it any smaller. I could definitely see going up a size if you wanted something just a little bit less close fitting, but not necessarily like oversized. So this is a really cute pattern. The stitch pattern on it is really easy to memorize. The way that the armhole trim is done is really clever. I don't want to give it away. But it's a really just kind of smart way of joining up the armhole trim with the already worked neckline for the halter, so that everything is nice and smooth and seamless. There's no sewing at all here. So overall, this is a great pattern. It's going to be really cute for wearing throughout the summer. And I finally got something off the needles, which of course means I need to cast on something else immediately. I do have Jessie May's, it is now raining, I was wrong. This is the Helix Halter. I have her Ripple Halter in my queue. I have yarn picked out for that, and I am planning to cast that on very soon. I'm actually wearing another Jessie May pattern today, so this is my outline raglan, which I also test knit for her. And it is not, this is another cotton linen yarn, I think. It's definitely not wool. I think it's a cotton, it might just be cotton. But really the only reason I can wear long sleeves is because I'm staying inside in the air conditioning to be away from the smoky pollution that is outside. Otherwise it would not be cool enough here to be wearing long sleeves, but that is a nice perk of central air conditioning. So I finally finished something. Other projects I really haven't made any progress on. I've been putting a stitch here and there on my crochet blanket. Like I said, I am not in any rush to finish this. I am just moving through it here and there. Not really running into any problems because it's just repeating these same stitches and switching colors every once in a while. So that is just a kind of a slow burn project that is around, that I'm working on occasionally. Pretty much all of my sweaters I've kind of put on hold until it gets warm again, until it gets cold again, and I might be actually interested in wearing them. I have started a new project, and it is a new test knit. So maybe about a week ago, the designer whose real name I can't remember, but who designs under the name Salt and Stone Knits, put out a call for testers for a summer tank top in a silk yarn. And so I have just cast on. So the yarn I'm using is the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. And this is mostly one color with a little bit of contrast tuck stitch on the side. So these are the two colors I picked. This isn't really usually my color combo, but I just felt like I needed something really summery. And I wanted something that wasn't super high contrast. So these two colors together I thought would be sort of summery but kind of muted for this season. So this one is Sunflower and this one is Quince. I got these from Fiberspace. I did not go to Fiberspace. I just ordered them so that I wouldn't buy anything else that I didn't need. So I have started, but just barely. So I just have this little bit of half-twisted rib going on, and so far so good. I did swatch, and I have to go down one needle size. My swatch was quite a bit off. So the recommended gauge, or the gauge called for in the pattern, was 27 stitches over 4 inches, and I had 24 stitches over 4 inches. Going down one needle size is probably not going to compensate for that much of a difference, but silk, when worn, tends to sag a little bit, so I'm expecting it to pull down a little bit more, which is, if you lengthen your stitches this way, you tighten them up the other way. And the other thing is I opted to knit a size 2. I was kind of torn between whether I wanted to do the 2 or the 3, but I went with the 2, and I figure if it does come out a little bit bigger, no harm done. So I will be keeping an eye on my gauge as I work. to hopefully get a better idea of how things are shaping up. It is worked in pieces, so I can basically knit the front, then block that, and maybe kind of drape it a little bit on here and see how much, you know, length growth I'm going to get and width shrinkage I'm going to get. And we'll just see how it goes. So I have just barely started that. It is going to be due at the end of July, so that's coming up really soon. So hopefully I'm going to knit quickly on this. That is really all I have to show you in terms of my personal projects, but I have a fair bit to show you in Adelante. Well, I'm a mostly retired knitting pattern designer, but knitting pattern design is still in my brain, and when I have time to work out a pattern that occurs to me, I still do. So I recently put together these little footy socks. So as of today, when this episode drops, we are doing a sock knit along for these, and the pattern is not available during the knit along. So everyone pre-ordered the pattern, then sales close, and while we knit along, it's just the people who are participating that have access to it. And then once the knit along is over, the final pattern is going to be published and be available for sale. So hopefully, this is not the first you're hearing about it and you had a chance to sign up for the sock along, but if not, in 2 weeks, you'll be able to get the socks. So these are the canicula footy socks. Canicula is the Spanish word for like the dog days of summer. Sometimes in some places it's more used like the heat of the day, like the hottest part of the day, but it can also be sort of the hottest part of the summer. So and these just hopped on my needles because I don't need socks in the summer. I spend most of summer barefoot, but for like an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening sometimes, I wish I just had a little something to put on my feet. I don't need full socks. I don't need heavy slippers. I just need a little something to kind of keep my toes warm when, you know, the floors are cold in the morning or the air conditioning is turned up high. And in general, I am a good temperature, but just my feet are cold. And so that's what I came up with. Are these little footy socks. The yarn I used for this is Knit Picks Elixir. It comes in these little 50-gram cakes, which is not enough for a regular pair of socks, but it is enough for the 3 smallest sizes of this sock. And in fact, this is the 4th size, and I was able to get a pair out of just 1 cake, but it was close and there's no extra for swatching. So I'm not recommending that, but it did happen. So Elixir is an alpaca, merino, and linen blend, and each the 50-gram ball is 164 yards. So for the 3 smallest sizes, that is plenty, and technically the 4th size as well. They work from the toe up. They've got a half twisted rib along the feet, along the sides of the feet, a short row heel worked with German short rows, and then an I-cord trim. No, look at the sock, not my face. There we go, an I-cord trim all the way around. They're so fast. They really just zoom off the needles. I don't know, I mean, obviously they're small, but also just you're not knitting this part here. And because you don't need to cover your whole foot, you don't need as many stitches as you do for a regular sock. So my normal sock is a 64 stitch sock. And that's what I did for these, for the sample, but they're a little too big. You don't really need, because you don't have this, that the fabric has to stretch over this part of your foot. And you actually want to keep these sides in close. You actually can go smaller. So I am going to knit a pair, at least one, during the sock along, and I'm going to go down to the next smaller size, the 3rd size, which will be a 60 stitch sock. The only part that has that many stitches is just the part here. The rest is obviously much smaller. So these are such a fast project, and you know, basically by the time you start, you're done. It's just so fast. I personally find the short row heel really addictive to knit. I'm like, I gotta get to the next wrap or the next double stitch, the next double stitch, the next double stitch. And then before you know it, it's done. The only annoying part of this sock is grafting the two ends of the I-cord together. It never looks how I want it to look. I mean, I don't think it looks atrocious. It's right here. And I know some people can do it really neatly. And personally, I guess that's just not a thing I can do as neatly as I want to. So that is a personal annoyance for me with my own pattern. But otherwise, I love it. I just think it's so cute. And this fiber mix is really interesting as well. So they're warm, they're fuzzy. This is definitely on the heavier side of a fingering weight yarn. Let's see if you can see. So like I said, I would probably make myself the smaller size the next time, but this size still fits perfectly well. And definitely keeping my tootsies warm. And I love this. I've been very happy with it. So if you missed out on the sock along, I'm sorry, but within a couple of weeks, this will be ready and you'll be able to purchase it on Ravelry or on Payhip and have your own cute little summer footy socks. And then the other thing I've been working on is a summer tank top pattern that's not going as fast as I would like it to, because I'd like to have it done for the summer. So this is a little tank top pattern, a little A-line tank top pattern that I am working in Knitting for Olive cotton merino, which is like a 70-30 cotton merino blend, with this eyelet and what's called a dip stitch motif in the middle. It's really simple and straightforward. You know, it's stockinette except for that bit in the middle, which is very easy to work. I love the look of the dip stitch, which is you're basically pulling a thread up from several rows below to create that little stitch pattern. Because of the way I want to work the back, I need to work this in pieces, which means it is not going as fast as it could be. Unfortunately, obviously purl rows are gonna slow you down, but I've been working on it. I've been putting a lot of time into the socks. So now with that done, hopefully this will be moving just a little bit faster. So it's pretty straightforward with just that little motif on the front, but I have some plans for the neckline that are going to make it interesting. So I would love to have this done for the summer. Knitting things flat, all that purling, it just slows me down. I wish it did not, but unfortunately that is just the way it is. So I am still kind of hoping maybe even later in the summer this will be available. I'm really enjoying working with the yarn. It's much softer than a cotton. It is, not as soft as a merino, but it still feels like a cotton, just a softer cotton. And it has sort of the drape and the movement and the airiness with the cotton. I'm not getting any sense of like warmth coming out of it from the merino. So again, it is generally speaking much too hot here in the summer to even think about wearing wool, but I'm hoping sort of late summer, something with just this little bit of wool will maybe work out. So we'll see how that goes. I am enjoying working with the yarn. I love this color. This is like my go-to blue-gray, cadet blue color that if I could have everything in this color, I probably would. So we will just see how that goes. So have been making progress on pattern designs, even though I'm not really supposed to be designing patterns. I have just a teeny bit of new yarn to show you today, other than the yarn that I bought for the test knit. After Maryland sheep and wool and all of that, I have not been doing a lot of yarn shopping, but I did buy just a little bit. So a few years ago, I released this pattern. This is the Hairspray and Radio shawl. It is a big, squishy, I would say, schlanket. It is very large and very heavy, and I've used a lot of like textured. This is some brioche and some fisherman's rib, and it's just got a lot going on. This is another textured stitch here, a big cable in the middle. It was worked with Neighborhood Fiber Company Studio Worsted, held together with their silk mohair. And the thing is that even though I published this shawl a couple of years ago, it's not done. I ran out of yarn, and I had already received yarn support for this, and I just did not feel like I could go back to them and be like, I need more of your very, fancy hand-dyed yarns to finish this shawl that you've already given me a lot of yarn for. So I very carefully styled my pattern photos so that you could not see that I had run out of yarn. And then I put it aside. So Neighborhood Fiber Company is, it is a hand-dyed yarn business. So the yarns are on the pricier side and completely fair, but I just didn't have the budget at the time to just purchase some extras when I, was able to publish the pattern without it. But it's just been sitting around, and I love it, and I haven't been using it because it's not done. Like, I can't, how am I gonna wrap this around me with just... So finally, they had a sale a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a spring cleaning or something, and I finally bought the 2 skeins of yarn I need to finish it. So this is their Shadow colorway, and then this one is Broadway Market. I don't know why, nothing about this reminds me of Broadway Market in Fells Point, but that's fine. So this should be enough to finish this shawl finally, so that I can actually wear it. I'm a little concerned. They've switched the base for their studio worsted, and now it is an organic merino. And so it used to be different. I don't know what the original base was. So I'm a little concerned that maybe it takes the color differently. It looks a little warmer to me, but it's hard to tell because I'm holding, I'm holding them double. And so it's kind of hard to tell what is this and what is this plus this together, like what the color is going to be. So I'm just going to deal with it. I love this shawl. I want to be able to wear it. I mean, not in the summer, but at the cold parts of the year, it can be a lap blanket. It's absolutely, let's see if I can get more of it in this. It's absolutely enormous. And I want to be able to use it. So I finally bought that to finish this up. And I'm going to do that. If you are interested in the shawl, again, it's called Hairspray and Radio. It is, you work the braid in the middle first, and then you pick up the wings on each side. This is like a slipped garter stitch. And this, I think, is, I could just look it up, couldn't I? This is the brioche, and this is, so this is like a maybe fisherman's rib, and then this is just a regular ribbing to finish it off. And it's, if you want a big cozy schlanket, it's an excellent choice. So that is the only new yarn that has found its way into my stash as of late. And of course it's summer, so you're not always feeling the knitting because it's hot. So I've been doing a fair bit of sewing. I have just one project that I'm going to show you. I've got a couple, I think I've actually finished a couple, but I don't remember what I've showed you when I haven't. It's been a while, so I'm just gonna show you about the most recent project I finished. So this is the Reglisse dress from Deer and Doe Patterns. The dress pattern does have two views, so this is view B. I think view A has a little, like a bow in the front, and the front is one piece. This is a faux button front, it doesn't actually button. It has little saddle shoulders, and I used for this a seersucker gingham that I got at Joann Fabric. And I love it. It is adorable. The only thing it didn't have was pockets, and I put pockets on it. I originally was thinking maybe I would just add a simple side seam pocket, but the problem I have is that I mostly want pockets to be able to hold my phone. The phone is heavy, and with the side seam pockets, it just pulls down and basically wants to rip the pocket out. So I decided I would pick a different pocket, and I copied the pockets that I put on my Matilda dress, which is a pattern by Megan Nielsen, back in the fall. And so these pockets are anchored in the waistband, and that's giving it, and then they're also, the bottom of the pocket is anchored in the side seam, so it's giving it more strength. Plus, the pocket trim is cut on the bias, so you get this contrast, and I really nailed the pattern matching for the pockets. It blends in almost seamlessly on both sides, and I was very proud of myself. So I have only worn this once, and it's a little wrinkled. This is a confusion for me with seersucker because it's supposed to be kind of puckery, but not wrinkled, and so I can't really decide like how much to iron it when I'm ironing it. I don't want it to be like a smooth, flat fabric, but I don't want it to have like obvious wrinkles in it either. So this was, again, this is the Reglisse, which is from Deer and Doe Patterns. The pattern, there was nothing particularly tricky in it, but some parts I think could have been explained better. Once I figured out what I was doing, I was like, oh, this makes sense, but sometimes it just wasn't clear and the illustrations weren't as clear as they could have been. But that was just a couple of points, and I was able to figure it out, so no big deal. I cut the 40, so this is the 40. I did not make any alterations to it other than adding the pockets, so that is the size it is. It fits perfectly. The armholes are a little longer than I would like. So it's just a cap sleeve, and I mean, you can see that's a pretty long armhole for kind of an open, you know, once I had worn it throughout the day, definitely it was starting to gape a little bit here, and you could like kind of see like the top side strap of my bra. So I think the armholes are probably a little long and could be adjusted, but other than that, I love it. I think it's a really adorable. I've been happy with the fabric, which I think I got on sale, and I'd originally bought another fabric that I wanted to use for this dress that I think I talked about in the last one. Ended up being see-through, so that was not gonna work. But this, I think this fabric is adorable for this. I look like I'm ready for a picnic, and I love it. So I have worn this once, and I do need to wash it. But I did want a chance because I'm always telling you guys I finished something, but then I have just worn it and it's not available. So I had to pull that one out of the wash just so I could show you guys that I had actually finished something. And the project I have underway now is this. I kind of went back and forth on which version. I was going to do shorts, but I wasn't sure which top. Ultimately, I went with this one just because that's what I had enough fabric for. I didn't quite have enough fabric for the other one. So I have done most of the bodice. The bodice is completely lined. And I kind of stopped here because the next thing it wants me to do is to slip stitch something, which means hand sewing, and I hate it. So I've kind of put this down for a little bit. So the armholes, and this will go up around the neck. I do kind of wish I had sewn, I mean, it's supposed to have a really plunging neckline. I wish I had sewn this a little higher though. And I can't really fix it at this point because it's lined, but I mean, I could take it apart, but I don't want to do that. But what I may do is put some hook and eyes closer to the bottom to sort of hold this together a little bit more. So it needs me to finish this slip stitching because it wants me to fold the seam up and then slip stitch this edge over that. I suppose I'll do that. And then it just needs some shorts. It does have pockets, and I think it'll be really cute when we have our beach vacation this year. Maybe for a date night, we shall see. So that is what I'm working on now. I just had a bunch of new patterns printed and ordered some new patterns. I have so much more sewing aspiration than I have time. So I think I'm going to sew all this stuff for the summer, and I'm sure ultimately I will not, but I have lots of things planned out and in the pipeline, so we shall see. I'm still enjoying the sewing, except when it tells me to hand sew things. I don't enjoy that. I am starting to get more comfortable making small adjustments. So well, I think we're progressing nicely. This fabric is really cute. It's like dandelions, but different colors, which I thought was cute for summer. And I believe I got this at Joann's as well. And in this case, I ordered it and it wasn't see-through, so that was helpful as also, not looking for my clothes to be see-through. So sewing still underway, still having fun, still have more projects than actual time. And I'll just throw a quick Chatterbox segment in here because I haven't been recording podcasts as much. It has just been, there's just so much. The school year ended, and so the kids are home now. And my free time is significantly cut back because I'm trying to figure out how to work and keep the kids busy, and still find time for like my hobbies and things. So it is a challenge. I love the work that I'm doing, which is translation, but I am not, I'm still relatively new in that, kind of building a business, building a customer base or client base. So I'm not, I'm not making enough money yet that we could put the kids in daycare for the summer or anything like that. So they are home. The little one will be doing extended school year. Unfortunately, he's just, he needs that to maintain that consistency in the summer so that when he goes back in the fall, it will not be like a huge shock for him. So he'll be starting extended school year on the 6th, and that's just for July. So we'll go on vacation at the end of July, and when we get back, he'll still have all of August off. But, they're home and they want to be entertained, and they want to go to the pool, or they want to play outside, but they don't want to play outside alone. And it's a struggle trying to make sure we're all getting the things done that we need to get done, but also paying attention to the kids and doing that. My mother-in-law was supposed to be arriving today. I'll go back a little bit. My husband's younger brother and his wife had their baby in the middle of June, and I have not had a chance to meet him yet. Hopefully soon. I'm almost done his welcome knit gifts. But my mother-in-law is coming to meet the baby, and she was supposed to arrive earlier. She had some delays with her documents, and now she's arriving what will be today when this drops. So she'll be here for a couple of days. She's gonna stay down, I think not with them, but downtown where they are, see the baby, come up here for a few days, see my kids. So we have that going on. I feel like we just have so much stuff going on. There's something every weekend, and I'm not a something every weekend And I'm like something once a month person. So it's basically from now until like Christmas. It's very hectic. So she's gonna be visiting, and then my husband's birthday's coming up, and then we go to the beach, and then it's my youngest birthday, and then it's my dad's birthday, and then it's back to school, and then all the fall stuff. So it just feels like it's always something, and we're feeling very busy. I am still trying to do new videos every Saturday. Sometimes it's a vlog, sometimes it's a tutorial, and sometimes it's a podcast. So I did not record last week because I was busy getting the tutorials ready for the sock knit along. But those are all done now, and hopefully I can get back to a somewhat regular schedule with videos and podcasting. We shall see. I'm also having a hard time because my studio space is a disaster area and I need to clean it, but I just can't seem to find the time to clean it. And it's making me feel like really cluttered and like I can't focus. Another obstacle in the way of living my best life as I want to be doing right now. So while it feels like we're doing something constantly, we really haven't done anything like interesting. Like we haven't gone anywhere or done something particularly out of the ordinary. It's just regular life, being busy and having family around and doing celebrations with them and keeping up with the kids and all of that good stuff. I did get to pet a new puppy. That was kind of a big highlight for me. A friend of mine who used to live just a couple blocks away and recently moved not too far away, but further away. They adopted a new puppy, and it was an 8-week-old golden retriever. So we had a barbecue last weekend just for fun, and they brought the puppy. It was so cute. It was so soft. And so one of the things I love about puppies and kittens both is that they're like narcoleptic, like they're play, like they're just asleep. So that was absolutely adorable. And my dog, who is now almost 3 and still a giant pain in the ass, I guess does have some maternal instincts because she was really trying to keep an eye on the puppy. And every time I would try to pet the puppy or anybody would, she was like, is it okay? My puppy, can't touch a puppy. So that was also kind of cute. For some, my husband's like, oh, we need to get her a puppy. We do not need to get her a puppy. We have enough going on in this house with our children and pets. We do not need another one right now. And when we get another pet, it's going to be a kitten for me because I want my orange kitten, not another puppy. Way too much work. But that is about all that has been going on around here. We will be going on vacation at the end of July, but until then, we will be home trying to make our way through the heat and the smoke pollution. It hasn't been super, super hot yet, but definitely the smoke, it's not like, it was in New York City where the sky was orange, but it has been, we've had our very unhealthy air qualities days and staying inside a lot. So not enjoying that particular part of summer either. Usually I garden in the summer. This year I decided not to do my vegetable garden. I am trying to get our flower beds cleaned out. When we bought this house, it had such nice landscaping, but neither of us are landscaping people. And also, like, I was already pregnant when we bought the house, so just been ignoring it. So I'm trying to get, the one thing I did do was a few years ago, read that we have a lot of mosquitoes, and I read that a good way to deter them was to plant lemon balm. So I picked one flower bed to put lemon balm in, and it has exploded over the entire yard. It's everywhere. It's in every flower bed. It's in my vegetable garden. It's everywhere. So instead of vegetable gardening this year, I am trying to clean out our flower beds and plant flowers we actually want. It is a challenge because the weeds grow back very quickly. The lemon balm grows back very quickly. And when I do get cleaned up, the dog starts digging in. So it's not going that well. I do still have my herbs and my salad greens, but no tomatoes this year, no zucchini, none of that. I'll just let it lie fallow for a year and try again next year and see how it goes. But it's also been, the past week we got a lot of rain, but for overall, since I guess the beginning of June, we've really had almost like a drought condition here. And then with the smoke from the fires, it doesn't really seem like I'm wanting to be spending a lot of time outside gardening anyway, so that's all right. Yeah, I guess that is about all I have to share here. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Hilo Stitch podcast. Links to everything that I have talked about can be found in the description box down below. If you are looking for me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Media Peruana. Here on YouTube, if you could give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. There's lots of other great stuff here. Vlogs, tutorials, all kinds of good knitting and fiber arts related content for those who are interested, and your subscriptions and thumbs up are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you soon in another episode.